today I'm going to break down my life. Today I'm going to go through my life's journey on how I found out I was Yeshua. I am Yeshua. I am Jesus Christ in the flesh. So I'm going to start when I was a wee lad. Recently, I told one of my family members on how I was a year and a half years old. And I still remember the moment I became aware. I still remember the moment I became conscious. I woke up from a nap and immediately I looked at my hands. I said, who am I? What am I? Where am I? And my life began consciously. Okay? One of the first dreams I can remember in my life is I remember floating. I remember a Hispanic kid. I was looking down at a Hispanic kid, and the kid thanked me and wanted to know my name. Thank you for helping me. What's your name? And I knew my name was Skylar. My name is Skylar. But for whatever reason, I couldn't say my name. My name is, and I couldn't say it. Then his mom came and said, thank you for helping my son. What is your name, sir? And I said, oh, my name is, and I couldn't say my name. Even though I knew my name, and I ended up waking up from that dream. And I might have been 5 years old when I had that dream. Fast forward, 2001, 9/11. I had a dream of the planes. I had a dream of the towers getting hit. I actually wrote it down in my journal. Obviously, having a dream about that and writing it down in my journal, my teachers were like, Skylar, why are you writing about planes hitting some towers? Just something I dreamt about. That was in my second grade year. 9/11 happened in my third grade year. Over the summer into the next year, it happened. And when it happened, I was like, what? Wait, hold up. Because I dreamt of all my students, my fellow students going home, getting picked up. I dreamt when the teacher brought in the TV, right? And we were watching it, and then boom, another plane hit, right? I dreamt of that whole scenario. I dreamt of that whole day. A lot of my life, I grew up thinking I was cursed. And my visions, that my premonitions, my dreams, I see them and then they happen. I'm like, yo, I'm cursed. Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why is no one talking about this? Why does no one relate to this? All right? Obviously, I went to friends or family members, specifically my mom, which obviously now I understand that there's no way that she could ever understand. There's no way anyone could understand but me because it's me, right? Only I can understand what I'm going through, right? She did take me to a couple preachers, one of which I remember he told me I have the gift of a dreamer like Joseph in the Bible. I don't even know if that's true because I've never read the Bible, right? And I'm just like, well, I know I'm dreaming. I know I'm dreaming of the future. I know this. But this ain't helping me. Okay, cool. I dream. I have the gift of a dreamer. Cool. Every single time I dream, it doesn't matter if it's a 10-minute micro nap. I have a dream. I have an experience. And a lot of the times, it happens. It happens in real life. And I learned to decipher my dreams. I learned to lucid dream, be in full control. I learned when the dreams will be premonitions. I learned to decipher which kind of dreams were what. And as I grew up, like I said, I definitely felt cursed. I definitely felt like something just wasn't right, right? But as I grew up, I stayed having very spiritual experiences. I'm going to touch on the crucial ones, the highlighted ones of my life, starting off with October 7th, 2008. I had a dream. I was walking towards the city of Houston. It was just me on a sidewalk. The clouds were gray. I watched the sky open up and a bright light came. It was like the sun times a million. I'm talking about the light was so bright. Even when my eyes were closed, it was still blinding me. And there was a voice that spoke that I will never forget the rest of my life, which I understand whose voice it was now. But it was a voice who spoke, and it was as if the entire universe shook. And the voice said, the Antichrist will be born in 3 days. And I woke up. I woke up at 5:39 a.m. October 7th, 2008. The 5:39 a.m. is relevant because that is my birthday. May 3rd, 93. 5393. 539 a.m. going back is a 3. That day, that moment, my awareness was already high. It was already up there. But after that moment, my entire everything was just upgraded. I really started to look around. I really started to see. I really was brought to a different kind of awareness for a kid that was 15 years old. Where once again, didn't read the Bible, never religious, never deep dove into it, but I did understand creation. I did understand that there was something that created me, that created the moon, the stars, the trees, water, nature, period. Right? I then had many dreams about what most people would call demons, what most people would call the devil, and all this stuff. And what's interesting about it is that most of the time, even when I was face to face with these very intimidating creatures or beings, I was never really scared. Um, there was multiple, I don't want to go just deep dive into every single experience. I'll be here all day. I'll be here all day. But I learned that the Antichrist is an energy, that the Antichrist is a part of my life in which I was going to face tremendous adversity. It's not necessarily a person, but an energy, a force in which I need you to go through this so that you can be stronger mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Okay? So, as I'm growing up, like I said, I was 15 when I had that dream about the Antichrist. Fast forward 3 years later, playing football, ended up coming home from football. Was going through things with the girl I was with, going through some home things. Um, Ended up leaving my home due to an argument with one of my guardians. I came back home and I had another dream that I will never forget. And it was an all black scene. There was a brown desk. And even before that, I started off the dream in all darkness. I walked in the door. It was like a desk area. There was a chair. There was somebody facing away from me, and there was a contract on the desk. It was a contract to literally sell my soul. Literally. If you sign right here, I seen a little quill cauldron thing with a little ink pen that was made out of blood, and the entity was like, "Look, you sign right here. I'll give you anything and everything you want. Sell your soul to me. I'll give you anything and everything you want." I just stood there like, obviously I said no. I didn't even, basically said no. I just stood there. And the entity, which the voice was an accent, I can't even repeat it. Like, I can hear the voice in my head, but my tongue won't let me repeat the accent. It wasn't French, it wasn't Russian, it wasn't Slavic, it wasn't Hispanic, it wasn't not like it was nothing I'd never heard before, right? And so after I refused, right, it wasn't it wasn't a physical voice. It was like a telepathic communication in the dream, basically saying, "Look, okay, I'm going to attack the people you care about more fiercely than ever, right? Friends, family, whoever, right?" And I got angry in the dream and slammed my fist on the desk, and I woke up, right? So coincidentally, I then watched my family. I then watched my family go through some very crazy things. Like I watched my parents get divorced. It was some things my cousins were going through, and I'm just sitting back like my sisters too. I'm like, when I came out of the dream, I was like, man, it was just a dream. And I started to see certain things happen. I'm like, what I dreamt is actually like manifesting. It's actually happening to the people I care about and stuff, right? So once again, fast forward, and as all this is happening, I'm still thinking to myself like, one day somehow, some way, I have to figure this out. One day somehow, some way, I have to understand who and what I am, which is crazy to think because I know I'm Skylar. I know I'm Skylar. But to think to myself that I understand that there's something more to me, right? I even used to, back to when I was a kid, to backtrack a little bit, whenever I would sleep, there are times where I would be in the dream realm for 2 days at a time and then come back here for a day and then go back. When I would go back to sleep, I would go to different worlds and realities for what felt like 48 hours. And I thought that was normal until I told my friends about it. And they're like, bro, what are you talking about? What do you mean you leave for a couple of days, right? I'm like, wait, so y'all don't dream and leave for a couple of days and then come back here for a day or two and then dream? And they're like, no, bro, what? So I'm like, okay, this isn't normal, which I didn't know, obviously, until I spoke to other people about it. Not to mention the deja vu. The deja vu was what really made me think there has to be more. The deja vu of the people I met before I actually met them made me think. Most of my friends to this day, I had a dream about them before I met them in real life. My high school I graduated from was the first. I was the first class in the high school. It was a brand new high school. I moved from a school in North Houston to a school in West Houston. And when I showed up there, it was a brand new school filled with only freshmen and sophomores, right? And you know how like the counselor will give you a schedule so that you can, find out where your classes and stuff were, right? I did not need an escort to any of my classes because I had already been there in the dream. I literally had a dream where I was in a brand new high school just built. I was in there by myself. I explored the school, I explored my classes in the dream by myself. And then I actually moved there, here in this reality. And when I got there, I needed no help finding my classroom, finding my classes because I already had been there. One of my friends, closest friends to this day, his name is David. I dreamt about him before I met him. He ended up in three of my classes. I'm like, wait, this is the dude I had a dream of, bro. What is going on? Because I'm 15, 16 at this point. Another friend of mine, I'm going to touch on him later. My friend Carol, avid church goer. I dreamt of him too. I ended up on the football team. He ended up getting on the football team. And I saw him and I'm like, bro, this is crazy. Y'all don't understand how weird it is to dream of someone that you've never seen and then they appear before you here. It's like, I want to talk to you, but then again, I don't want to talk to you because I just freaking seen you in my dreams, bro. And now you're right in front of me. And then he turns out being one of my closest friends for years. So all these experiences, all these things that are going on in my life, I'm just like, bro, I gotta figure this out one day. So I'm gonna fast forward. Went from kid to the not selling my soul thing to becoming an adult, still having visions, still having prophecies happen, premonitions happen, all this stuff. So I had made up my mind. When I'm done with football, 'cause that's something I truly enjoy. When I'm done with football, somehow, some way, I have to figure out who and what I am. And so at the age of 29, um, I went out, I tried arena football, things didn't work out. It just seemed like the universe was like, it's time. It's time for you to figure out who and what you are. So I ended up finishing football, and I came across a meditation video. Now, like I said, I've never been religious. I've never really read the Bible or anything like that. But I came across a meditation video, and I wondered to myself, I'm like, how do these people meditate for so long and just sit in one spot, right? With their eyes closed, like, you know what I'm saying? When I close my eyes, it's just darkness, which is not the case now. But back then, I'm like, how do they do that, right? So I started to meditate, maybe 5, 10 minutes for a day or two, and then it went to 20 minutes, and then I started to see things within myself. Like I literally started to see stars and shapes, and all these things started forming, and I was in my room, and there was light coming through my window. And so I'm like, hold on, it's easier to see in pure darkness. So I ended up going into my closet to meditate, and immediately I literally was in another realm or dimension, okay? And I was in there with my ancestors and stuff. And I'm like, bro, it was incredible. I'm like, bro, how is this happening, right? So I'm sure most people here don't know about the third eye, or they deem it as demonic. The church does and all this stuff. That's not true. You have 7 major energy centers in your body, one of which is your third eye, and that the food and the water and the lack of exercise or lack of sunlight or just lack of unhealthy habits has closed off your third eye, your connection to yourself, your connection to source or God, which makes it easier for people to be in control when they live in fear. When I'm in my closet, I was in my closet with my ancestors and stuff, was not in fear at all. I actually had a moment of experience I'll never forget. I had my hands out, and my ancestors were walking by me, and they were handing me pieces of light, pieces of light, pieces of light, which I didn't understand. But now I understand my level of light, my impact on people's lives, my glow when I walk into a room, right? But anyway, I learned to meditate. I learned to go within myself, and as I stayed consistent with it, right, the visions, the visuals, the adventures, the what I was able to see and perceive grew greater and greater and greater. Now, this is where it gets a little different because, like I said, the Bible has been manipulated. There's many chapters. There are many books. There are many things that was left out of the Bible. And my mission here, why I am here, is to give everyone the truth. Is to make it so everyone understands. Everyone has an understanding. And once again, you do not have to believe me. The kingdom of God is within you on my TikTok and on my YouTube. I teach people how to go within. I give you the exact formula to sit with yourself and go within and unlock the truth and information for yourself. Okay? So, I ended up meditating in 2023. I started around February ish, but then I really deep dove into it maybe by the end of January, around February. And then March for sure, I was just every day with it, right? Now, meditating over the summer in the heat, under the sun, that's where my progression just accelerated through the roof. That I was meditating in the sun, I was meditating in my closet. It was a very daily thing. And about 6, 7 months into it is when my major breakthrough happened. and I have a witness to this, a highly educated woman who was there for this. Me and my friend went to Houston Memorial Park to witness the super blue moon. It was supposed to be a super blue moon, September 2023. We go to the park, and the moon was not super or blue. I'm sure some of you have seen the moon when it's orange or that blood red. This is where it all began. Like, for me, in a major way, for me to understand who and what I am, okay? So we're at the park, and to give you guys a visual, we're right here on a bench, right? Then there's a lake in front of us, and then the moon is in front of us, and it is orange slash red, okay? Now, to my left, there is low grass, okay? Low, just regular grass, okay? And then 20 feet behind that, that's where the forest began. So to my left is literally nothing but thin air and just, low grass, right? As we're looking at the moon, we hear something to our left, which makes no sense. It was like something was in the bushes, right? And we both look like there's nothing there, right? So then we look up at the moon again. It happened again. I was like, okay, if that happens again, we're freaking leaving, right? Our friend agreed. She's like, yeah, because this is crazy. We're both looking, ain't nothing there, right? It happened again. I said, let's roll. We walk around the lake, and as I'm walking around it, I keep confirmation. I keep something in the back of my mind is like, I need to go back. You know how you get like chills down your spine and your hair raises up? It was hairs on my body raising up. I ain't never felt raised up before. So I'm like, I need to go back. And my friend was like, you sure? I said, yeah, let's go back. So we walk back around the lake, go back and sit in the same spot. It happened. I literally yelled. I was like, yo, who is playing with this, bro? Who is doing this? Even though it was nothing there, right? So I'm like, bro, this is crazy what is happening. So I was like, okay, for real. It happens again, we're going back to your place. It happened again. I said, yep, let's go. So we ended up going back to her place. I woke up around 2 in the morning, and I told her, I was like, look, this gonna sound crazy, but I need to go back to the park. Now, obviously, it ain't normal for nobody to get up and go back to the park at freaking 2 a.m. But at this part in my journey, 6, 7 months into it, I understand that there are no such things as coincidences, that I am synchronized, that I am one with the universe, that me and God move in the same way and factor. We are one, we are together, right? In everything that we do. So I ended up going back to the park, and I go and I sit in the same exact spot, and nothing was happening. All I hear is some bullfrogs and crickets and just, I'm like, why am I out here? I'm freaking up here. It's like, now it's like 2:30 in the morning. I'm outside. There ain't no more noises happening, like in the bushes and stuff, right? So I was like, okay, cool. I'm already out here. I might as well start meditating a little bit. Now, there's this star in the sky that has caught my eye my entire life. And so I look up at the star. It was perfectly aligned with me. Y'all know, like the 5-point star? I'll start watching the 5-point star start descending from the little dot in the sky. And I looked away because I'm like, hold up. Why is there a star falling from a star, right? I took a deep breath. I look again. The star starts slowly descending again. And to my left, as the star is descending, out loud and within my mind, I was like, is that Christ? I watched a shadow to my left come up from behind me where the noises were coming from earlier in the night. It was a shadow of Jesus, okay? He came, he tapped me on my shoulder, and I got chills from head to toe. Now, let me backtrack a couple months. You're gonna be like, bro, what? 3 months, maybe around 3 months before that, I had a dream. I was abducted by aliens twice, right? The first two times, I was in denial about it. I was like, ain't no way, because the second time, I like plopped in my bed, and my friend was next to me, and I was like, there's no way I got abducted with my friend right next to me, right? But I made up my mind. I was like, look, if I get abducted again or anything like that ever happens again, I'm going to stay cool, calm, and collected. It happened again. I was in the dream, and I'm like this. Everything's kind of blurry, but I can see these beings, right? And in my mind, I'm just like, well, if they wanted to hurt me, I would be hurt. There's nothing I can do, right? I then remember getting dropped off at some stadium, right? And I just remember a white flash, and I was holding like a college degree, right? The back of it was facing towards me. I couldn't see what it said. I walked across the stage, and when I finished walking across the stage, I turned the degree around, and it said, "Congratulations on your graduation from Earth School." And I woke up, and I was like, "What? I didn't graduated from Earth School? I thought I had to die for that." Now, fast forward. Jesus came up, tapped me on my shoulder, chills from head to toe, right? I'm like, okay, I'm sitting here with Jesus, right? I then watch a UFO or a UAP appear and starts projecting images into the stars. And I started watching biblical stories, ancient Egyptian stories about myself, about Jesus, about all sorts of stuff. Now, obviously, I'm at a public park. So around 6:30 in the morning, 7 a.m. in the morning, people are walking by with their dogs. People are jogging. And I'm just sitting here like this with Jesus right here to my left. And I'm like, so nobody else sees this? Like, this is insane. I sat there all the way until the sun rose. And after the sun rose, I seen Jesus walking back and forth within the sun as if it was like a hole in the wall, like a portal. And I'm like, whew, okay, well, the sun is a portal for sure. This is a portal for sure. And I'm like, okay, that was cool. Well, if he came down one night, maybe he'll come back another night. And he did every single night for the next 7, 8 nights. Jesus came down, and I spent time with him, and he taught me a lot of things about the universe, vibrations, frequencies, all kind of stuff. I'm not gonna go over every night, but I'll go over like the main points, right? A lot of stuff was very personal. A lot of stuff was general and how to navigate this 3D world, and all kind of stuff. Now, one of the nights, my friend wanted to come with me, so I was like, "Come on, sure, let's go. Let's go. You know, man, let's make it happen, right?" We go to the park. I look up to the stars. I watch these two stars exchange this green energy back and forth, and then this went off maybe like 10 minutes, and then I watched both the stars create an energy, and the energies hit each other in a green tunnel of energy. It was green and black, like the Matrix. You know, the Matrix has the green and black coding, the letters. I watched these two stars create this energy. A tunnel of energy came and zoomed towards me. I had to close one eye and allow the energy to hit my left eye, and then I allowed it to hit my right eye, and I had to sit down. It literally felt like the gravity of Earth was like on top of my shoulders or something. Right? So I sat down. My friend was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm good." I just have to finish this process, right? So I sat on the ground. I don't remember exactly how long, maybe 20, 30 minutes. The tunnel of energy left my eyes. I stood up. I felt super weak, but then I felt super strong again. I was like, that was kind of crazy, right? We ended up going back to her place. I was about to shower, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I wonder what that was. Like, what happened, right? The moment I took off my shirt when I was about to shower, I could see mountains on my chest. I could see my veins were rivers. I could see a valley on my stomach. My whole body was covered in nature and ancient Egyptian like hieroglyphics, symbols and stuff all over my body. Even now to this day, this still happens. I look at my skin, I can see my ancient Egyptian story. I can see a pyramid right here with the all-seeing eye on it. I can see it on other people's skin and everything. I can literally see your spiritual, I call them the spiritual tattoos, okay? My spiritual story and everything on my body and others, okay? There was a moment with a family member of mine. I was telling her what was happening, and I can make my vision go black and white. Okay, and so I was like, yo, I can make my vision go black and white, but I don't know what it does. And then I decided to use my vision on her, and she had all black braids with a single blonde braid at the front. And when I used my vision on her, the single blonde braid turned into a braid of golden seashells. I'm like, and I can see her in like her ancient Egyptian form, like her ancient Egyptian goddess princess form. And I'm like, bruh. At the time, I was working at Amazon. I was a delivery driver, and I was using my vision on everyone. I could see everyone in their ancient Egyptian form. I was like, these people have no idea who and what they are. They have no idea. Like, this is insane. So, the second night I was with Jesus, I asked him, I said, why can I see you and other people can't? Right? My body began to vibrate. And I understood. That's how we communicated through vibration and frequency. And essentially is because we share a very similar frequency of love, light, and all this stuff, right? And that if your vibration isn't high enough or mirrors it, because Jesus is my true reflection, okay? You can't perceive him, you can't be around him. He does not vibrate love, okay? Um, so I'm like, bro, this is crazy. Even getting like real close to him in the beginning, it was like, bro, it was crazy how like my body would shake, but not in like a bad way. It's a great feeling. I'm like, oh, so me and you were like the same in a sense, right? And there was something he told me through vibration, and he said, even my greatest followers won't believe you, which in the moment I did not understand. Right? I'm like, well, they're not gonna believe that you came down and I hung out with you for a day. Whatever. Why would I even lie about that? That's just stupid, right? But he was talking about, which I found out later, that they won't believe that you and me are the same. That I am Jesus Christ. That I am God in the flesh. God, the true incarnation of the Holy Spirit, the God Spirit soul. Okay, and which, long story short, my friend Carol, he saw one of my YouTube videos. He wrote a whole paragraph saying we can't be friends no more. You're not God. You're not Yeshua. You're not Jesus reborn. Blah blah blah. Which once again, there's no way he could possibly fathom it, or most of you could possibly fathom it. It's not for you to really understand anyway. But it's just a simple fact that people refuse to listen, but they'll listen to some preacher dude that they don't know nothing about. Preachers don't teach people nothing about nothing. But I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that for another time. But I'm here to break down things so people understand that I am Yeshua. I am Jesus Christ, and I've been standing on it. I will forever stand on it because that's who and what I am. Period. Anyway, same thing with my mother. Had a whole freaking episode and doing all kind of crazy things, trying to lock me up in mental hospitals and everything. And I don't care about putting it out there because this is what happened. And it's interesting because I had a dream. Thank you for my dreams, my premonitions. That I was in a hospital with my wrist taped to a bed. I got free. I tried to run out the hospital door or whatever. I tried to go to the elevator, but I needed a code. I didn't know the code to take the elevator down. And then I ran back to the room and I ended up waking up. I tried to tell my mother about my experience with Jesus. She immediately, before even trying to listen to a single thing I had to say, was like, we're going to a mental hospital now. Then we go there. I explained what happened to the nurse, which I told her I had a witness to what happened. All right, my friend. And the nurse was like, wait, somebody was with you? And even my mom, wait, she was with you? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But did you sit there and listen about how this all went down? No, you did not. So, after explaining to the nurse and to the doctor, they were both like, well, you seem absolutely perfectly fine. And I'm like, I know I do. Then my mother tried to call the police on me. I explained to police what happened, and well, you seem perfectly fine, sir. We get calls like this all the time, and you are completely coherent. You are completely understanding of what you went through and what you saw and what you experienced. And now you're learning that you can't just tell anybody about what you saw, what you learned, and what you experienced, including friends or family. And I'm like, I see. Thank you, officer. I don't even like police, but thank you, officer. So, I dealt with that. That was over with. That was done. Lack of understanding is exactly why this place, this planet, this country, this world is in the predicament it is in. And I break down what I do on TikTok. I break down what I do in my videos in a way to where people can fully understand. If you know English, you understand. If you don't, oh well. Now, at this point of my journey, I still didn't know I was Jesus. Didn't know. But I'm gonna talk to you about the last couple of nights I was with him. I ended up being up all night with him. I was about to go home. There was a song. My phone started glitching. And there was a song. It went to YouTube. A song started playing. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders, and we walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. And I'm about to leave, and I'm like, wait, why is this song playing? When I knew dang well why this song was playing. It was a test of faith moment where I spent all the night with Jesus, learned these lessons, learned everything I learned, and that I had to trust. And the way to get myself to trust it is, okay, I need you to get in this lake now, in front of everybody, no fear, right? So I end up going to the lake. I look into the lake, and I see this big fat goddamn snake right there at like the dock of the lake. I'm like, oh my goodness. The snake slithers away. Not even, bro, not even 10 seconds go by. I watch this turtle swim up to me and stops right in front of me. Like just like this camera, this freaking turtle stopped right in front of me. And I watched the turtle move his head like, come on, get in. I'm like, this is not real, bro. I'm like, this is not real, bro. I'm like, and you know, in my head, I'm like, oh, if this is real, do it again. I watched the turtle head go, get in. I was like, oh. It's like 7:30 in the morning. It's people all around the lake walking, having a good time and stuff. I'm like, bro. Sat there for maybe 10, 15 minutes. I said, screw it. I was just all night with Jesus. I'm not about to freaking fail this now, right? Take off my shirt, shoes and socks. I get in, this little tadpoles and stuff nibbling at my feet, my knees, and all this stuff. Not to mention, I just saw a goddamn snake in there, right? So I just had a song in my head. The Spirit lead me where my trust is without borders, and we walk upon the waters. And I hear people in the background like, this dude's crazy. There could be water moccasins, viruses, all kind of stuff in the water, right? I hear people talking. I hear them. I don't care though, right? So obviously the lake is dirty, right? The lake is brown and green and all kind of stuff, right? And as I'm walking, you know how you create waves in front of you when you're walking? As I'm walking, the waves I'm creating in front of me are crystal clear blue, bro. I know everybody around me is seeing that this lake is brown and green and algae and dirty and all kind of stuff. But as I'm walking, this goddamn water is crystal clear, bro. I'm like, bro. I then at the end of the lake seen these bubbles come up. It's like some bubbles like fizzling. I was like, you want me to go way out there? You want Spirit lead me where my trust is without borders. It's in the song. It talks about walking until you can't walk no more. You have to trust God, trust yourself. Right? So I go all the way out to where the bubbles are. I had to start swimming and start swimming. I get there. I go underwater with my eyes open. I see pyramids. I see roadways. I essentially see Atlantis. I see Atlantis down there. I'm like, oh my God. I ended up coming back up. And when I came back up, I looked towards the sun. I could, in the sky, there was a pyramid leading up that ended right before the sun. So I'm like, don't nobody see this giant freaking pyramid in the sky hovering, but I'm or not hovering, but like sitting right below the sun, bro. So I ended up swimming out to where I could stand up again. I just stood in the lake for like 10 minutes. I'm like, bro, I was terrified. I was literally afraid of like, first the snake, then people are all around watching me, gonna be thinking I'm crazy. All this stuff was going on in my head. And here I am standing in the middle of a lake in front of all these people, perfectly fine. Fear was all in my mind. There was nothing to fear. So I stood there for about 10 minutes. I ended up getting out the lake. This dude came up to me, bro. It was like, bro, what was that about, bro? And I was like, bro, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, bro. It don't even matter, bro. And then this older lady came up to me and was like, in all my years of living, I've never seen someone so happy to just be standing in a lake. I didn't even know what to say. I was just like, thank you. Oh my goodness. Now, this was, like I said, it was the second to last night. I had one more night to go. And I'm not gonna lie. So this whole time I'm going to work. I'm spending all night with Jesus. I go home, I might take a shower or whatever, get an hour of sleep, go to work. And when I was at Amazon, I'm delivering 200 stops, packages a day, or 350 packages, 200 stops a day. Well, I'm going hard at it, right? And the last night, I was like, yo, I'm fatigued, bro. Jesus, I love you to death, bro. But like, bro, I need to sleep tonight, right? And tell me why Jesus came into the goddamn apartment, bro. I'm like, okay, you ain't never came inside. This got to be important. So I ended up going to the park around midnight. Around midnight, I saw the resurrection of a bunch of ancient creatures. I got to see baby Jesus and Mary. I got to see Yeshua, me. I saw Jesus come out of this tomb. It was a tomb he was in. A giant rock got pushed. He came out of a tomb. He taught me this thing how to do like this, just like the pyramid on the dollar bill. How I look into different realms and dimensions and stuff. I watched this rock get pushed out the way, out of this tomb. He came out of the tomb. I then covered one eye like this, and I could see the world through Jesus' eyes. I remember a palm tree, and it was like a little oasis of water, and the pyramids were in the background. I watched Jesus walk into town. As he was walking into town, I saw myself as a little Egyptian Israelite dude. It was literally me. I looked like I was 5 years old. I had on ancient Egyptian clothing and like an emerald necklace that was blue and gold. And it was like goddamn Beerus clothes from Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, Jesus came into town, and I saw his heart start flashing different colors, just like when I saw him being held by Mary. That's his mom, I guess. And I seen his heart being flashed different colors. Anyway, he came into town. His heart started flashing different colors. Mine started doing the same thing, and our hearts matched. They synced together, right? And this was when the universe was trying to find out who it is consciously, right? And in that moment, the universe consciously, or God, chose me, was like, you are the son of God. I am God, or the pure incarnation of God in the flesh, okay? Jesus is the heart chakra. He is the frequency of love, okay? Despite what everyone thinks that Jesus was this, or he was used to enslave our people and All this stuff, bro. His story has been misconstrued, bro. It has been weaponized. Okay? Yeshua, which is me, is black or African American. Jesus is a whole nother person, bro, that learned to meditate, that learned to go within. He was not here to hurt or harm or confuse a soul. He was teaching people the exact same thing that I'm teaching you, which is to go inside, that the goddamn governments and religious people of this planet are brainwashing you. Period. Whether you understand it or believe it or not, they have lied to you. I have no, bro, I don't have to defend this dude at all. But I know exactly what happened. I have meditated over 5,000 hours. I'm tapped in beyond what you can comprehend. Period. So, like I said, they took his message, they took his teaching, or the teaching, and twisted it and manipulated it, and they make a profit off of it. Period. He was here to destroy the matrix. He was here to go against religion. He was here for all that. And just to backtrack it, because my memories come in fragments. I didn't learn this till way later. Yes, they tried to crucify him. Yes, even I didn't even say this earlier. I had dreams growing up of me on the cross multiple times. Multiple times. Me on the cross. Multiple. I'm talking about maybe over 12 times in my life. I literally had multiple visions and or dreams of being put on the cross. Multiple dreams and or visions of half the world trying to harm me, the other half trying to protect me. And I'm watching it all unfold now. Anyway, the last night I was with Jesus, came in the apartment, went to the park, had this vision of the tomb and all that. I saw they tried to crucify Jesus. They did not kill him. I came out of my village. I seen he was harmed. I went back, got help from my kingdom. I watched us put him in a cave, in a tomb for him to heal up. He came back out. He headed into the village. It was extreme gratitude and love shared in that moment. And that was it. He then went on to continue living his life. He did not die. Period. Oh, this feels so good to let loose. He did not die. Anyway, after all that, oh, that's crazy. This next line, it was like a victory lap. He was like, go ahead, walk around the lake. I ended up walking around the lake. I'm seeing all kind of crazy creatures, fairies, pixels, pixies, trolls, gnomes, all kinds of things. I ended up walking around the lake. I go to like this dock and I get a sense of deja vu. Like, wait, I dreamt of this. And I go up to the dock. I literally see a mermaid's arm come out of the water and was like, come on this way. I'm like, what is going on? I go around. I go around the lake. I follow the mermaid. I go around the lake. Jesus is there, right? He tells me to do the thing with the pyramid. I do like this. I look at the water. I turn the water from water to wine because most of the things in the Bible are parables and allegory and happen from spiritual experiences or happen in meditation. They were not literal things. So I turned water to wine. And before I did that, I seen an image of Jesus' face. He had blood coming down. Three lines here, 3 lines under his eyes, 3 lines here, and 3 lines here. It looked like a horror movie to be honest, but I was so used to, the imagery and stuff over the week. Where I'm like, okay, this is you're bloody. And I didn't look at the water. I didn't watch the water go from water to wine. The water went from blue to freaking red. I see the bubbles come up like earlier. I was like, you want me to get in this freaking water? Got his blood red, bro. I just watched turn from freaking water to wine, bro. Once again, I stood there for about 20 minutes. I went inside the water, and opened my eyes. It was blood red everywhere. It wasn't Atlantis. Tell you that. I got out the water, bro. And I ain't gonna lie, I put it all out there. I don't care. I pissed myself, bro. I literally stood there shaking, and I pissed myself. That's how terrified I was, bro. I couldn't see nothing. It was like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I have the videos of the aftermath of after I got in the lake, bro. Ooh, shoot. Now, ended up going home, went to work, showered, went to work, came home from work, finally got to get some rest in. Once again, I have video evidence of this as well. This was my last encounter with Jesus for a while. I had a dream. We were in this all white arena. Jesus had his head in my chest, and I was listening to him. And basically, he was speaking on how, like, dealing with depression and anxiety and sadness and all this stuff. And I was like, dang, I never really thought about Jesus dealing with all this stuff, right? So then I gave Jesus a pep talk. I put my hand on his shoulder, and I said, I need you to believe in yourself like you believed in me this past week, right? And I just want to let you know I love you, Jesus, right? I then watched his head come out of my chest, and he closed one eye, and he looked at me with his right eye into my right eye, and I felt like an energy swirling, like he was checking my soul or something to make sure that I meant what I said when I said I loved him. And for the first time that whole week, he actually spoke. And he whispered, I love you too. And he hugged me. And I woke up out the dream. And so I'm going to tell my friend, I'm like, yo, I just had this crazy dream, right? And she was like, hold on. Before you tell me, let me show you how you were sleeping. Now, I always sleep on my side. I could not sleep on my back to save my life, right? I was sleeping on my back. And remember how I told y'all about how he taught me to do like this, to see into different realms and realities, right? Tell me why. My arm was up like this, like a pyramid. It looks like a pyramid, right? It looks like a freaking pyramid. And my right, I'm gonna do it like this. Oh, looks like a pyramid, right? And my right eye was open just like that. Bruh. I was sleeping in just like this, just like a pyramid with one eye open, bruh. And it was the same eye that was swirling in the dream. It was the exact same eye. Bro. I'm like, oh yeah, you can't make this up, bro. You cannot make this up, bro. Once again, I have the dream, I have the video or whatnot, and I was so glad my friend recorded that. So, I'm like, yo, this is surreal. Like, this is surreal, bro. Anyway, fast forward, because I still didn't know I was Jesus at this point. I continued my journey. I continued having crazy experiences. And there was a day at the park. This was like, man, this was a while later. It was some months, longer than months. This was like a year and a half later. I learned about Amun Ra. I met Shiva. I met Shakti, Ganesha. I met all these other gods and deities. You know, maybe like a year and a half later after the dream, I got annoyed. I was at the park and I closed my eyes maybe like 10 seconds and I had a vision of me being on the cross again and I got aggravated. I got so annoyed. I'm like, bro, why you keep showing me on the cross? Like, why do I keep having these dreams and these visions of this? I calmed myself down and I was like, okay, let's say hypothetically I am Jesus, right? Everything in nature, everything in life, I felt my heart start to blossom and open up, right? I'm like, yo. Then this is something I'll never forget. There was this tree in front of me. It had one leaf on it, right? Literally. This was like late February, maybe early March. So it's kind of cold outside. I had one leaf on this tree. I watched the wind blow. This one leaf just swindled down and smacked me right in the face, bro. I'm like, bro, did God just smack me in the face with a leaf? So maybe like 4 days later, I said, okay, I'm going to set my intentions. If I'm Jesus Christ, I need to know, like 1000%. No, I don't need no if, ands, or buts. And if you show me what I need to tell me, you know what I'm saying? That's it. We moving forward, right? So I ended up meditating in my closet for about 4 hours. First, I was in my head for about 20 minutes thinking about life and work and whatever the heck, just random, normal stuff, right? Then I was like, man, I'm in here to find out if I'm Jesus or not. What is going on? So then the vision started. And you know how they talk about eating the forbidden fruit? I saw myself eat the forbidden fruit. And the forbidden fruit was knowledge. Okay? I then watched us fall from heaven to, quote, hell. It was a drop in frequency, right? Now, because I ate the forbidden fruit of knowledge, I knew that we would drop in frequency. So as soon as I ate it, the forbidden fruit, I watched everyone drop in frequency, even myself, but then I watched myself catch myself. I watched the hand of God catch me and elevate me back up. And I'm like, oh. And then I watch myself come down later, right? So that explains Jesus or God, me coming down later in life in comparison to everything else, right? So then, and this is where it made it official for me. This is where I understood completely, like, this is it. I don't care. This is, I'm never questioning it again. I had visions of myself. And you know how people be calling on Jesus' name whenever they're in peril, whenever they're in trouble? I was having visions of people across the world calling on Jesus' name, and every single time that they said Jesus Christ, my face was flashing before my eyes. And I was like, so they've been calling on me this entire time. And that's when it was embedded in me. That's when it became official to me that I am who I am, and not a soul can do anything about it. It will not change. I am who I am. I am Yeshua. I am Jesus Christ in the flesh. All right? And now I'm going to talk about how I was ready to sacrifice myself, how I had to overcome death for each and every one of you, whether you believe it or understand it or not. There was a night I woke up. I have the eye of Ra and the eye of Horus, okay? Which you probably never heard of. But anyway, I can look and see a divine pathway that God provides for me. I woke up in the middle of the night. I followed this pathway to this lake. And to give you another visual, I was on a bench. Then there was a lake. And there was another bench across the lake with a light, like a little street light underneath it. And I could see Jesus on the cross. And so I'm like, oh, I got to get in the water again. I get in the water again. This is about 3 in the morning. And it's 30 degrees outside. I get in the water. I walk towards Jesus. I'm looking at Jesus. I go underwater. I come back up. And before I went out there, I saw something. It's still my screensaver to this day. I saw something that said, let go to receive. So I'm in there. I'm freezing. I'm like, yo, no one's going to know I'm out here. Like, I could die. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not going to lie. I got a little panicky because I'm like, it's 3 in the morning. It's 30 degrees. I'm in this lake. I tried to swim out, but it was literally like God was like, nope. God was like, no, you're the only one that understands this message. I need you to be in the water. I need you to face this, which one of my fears is drowning, right? I had to face all my fears on this journey. The snakes, the drowning. I ended up going skydiving because I'm afraid of heights. I had to face every single fear possible on this journey, okay? But anyway, I go back in the middle of the lake. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what would Jesus do? I'm staring at Jesus, like on the cross right in front of me, and I'm like, well, he would die. And I'm like, well, do I have to die right now? Like, I'm about to really die, bro. And I had deja vu too. I was like, bro, deja vu. I'm really about to die, bro. This is crazy, bro. So then, bro, this was the most dramatic scene of my freaking life. It starts to rain on me, and then there's a water fountain next to me. The water fountain starts spewing. I'm like, I'm really about to die, bro. Like, this is it. And then I calmed down and I was like, well, you know what? If I have to die for everyone to live, so be it. And I'm not talking about just, I'm talking about everyone. I'm talking about murderers, thieves, motherfucking weirdos. Like, if I have to die for every single person to live, so be it. The water was about up to here, and it was kind of like I kind of felt my body kind of like, I don't know if it was shut down or what. I don't know what was going on, but I was like, wait, let go to receive. So as the water's coming up to here, and I'm thinking I'm about to just drown at 3 a.m. with nobody around me, and I literally watched my whole life flash before my eyes. I was like, oh, I just died. I literally watched myself die, and I had to overcome the illusion of death. I thought to myself, let go to receive, and the water went from here all the way down to my belly button, and I ended up walking out of the lake. I then seen a plane. I thought it was a UFO. It ended up being a plane zoomed by me. And then I seen a shooting star go across the sky, and I was smiling. And then I heard God, I heard my inner self was like, without you realizing it, Skyler, you just saved the world. And I was not trying to hear that. I'm like, bro, God, you got me out here at 3 in the morning, 3 in the morning, freezing in a freaking lake where I literally watched myself die. I literally watched myself die and overcome the illusion of death and move forward. Went home, showered, woke up the next morning like, bruh. Well, once again, I have a video of me getting out of the lake. Now, after that, and after the hearing everyone say my name over and over and over, and having it beat into me, literally beat into me. I understand I am Yeshua. I understand I am Jesus Christ. I understand when I look back at my life, of my spiritual experiences and every single thing I've ever been through, it all makes complete sense to me now. And it's been a wonderful, beautiful adventure that bro, there is no words for this. And even when, after that, after I found out who I am, I sat in my chair for about 2 hours just like, now what? Now what? Like, do I tell people? Do I not tell people? People gonna think I'm crazy. People gonna think I'm this, but it is what it is. This is my journey. This is my path. This is my battle. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But I'm gonna wrap it up now. Seeing them people calling on my name across the world. Whole life flashed before my eyes. I died. I was ready to die for every single one of you. I did die and overcame death. And that's it. So, I appreciate you watching this. May the rest of your day be the best of your day. TTYL from your boy, Skyler, aka Yeshua, aka Jesus Christ in the flesh. I'm gone.